Hi, Ming. Hey, it's Miss Woodard here. I wanted to record a video for you about the lesson that we did yesterday. Yesterday was Thursday, October 1st. So I just want to make sure that you're caught up with everybody else. We missed you in our Zoom. First of all, I am no longer going to be using Zoom to present. I am actually going to use GoGuardian. And so I see when you're logged in. When you log in using your device, I'm sitting on the other side watching what you're doing, and I'm available to answer questions. I also can take over your screen and can present from there. So instead of having a Zoom link and then we're going out to GoGuardian and I'm kind of toggling between the two, we're just going to use GoGuardian. So don't expect to see any more Zoom links. Everything's going to come through GoGuardian. I also mentioned to them that this week I will be with you guys on Monday and I'm going to do the GoGuardian no Zoom link. So expect that I will be popping up on your screen on Monday. And then on Thursday, we're going to have our first quiz. And I'm going to be covering everything that's going to be on that quiz on Monday. So expect that that's coming up on Thursday. What we talked about yesterday was we talked a little bit more about scientific notation. And I went through the puzzles. So if you remember, I assigned a puzzle where what you were doing was you guys were opening up a Google slide, and they look kind of like this. And then from the slide, you were choosing the arrows. So what you were doing is you were starting at the beginning start spot. And from the start spot, you were looking at a number and you were writing it in scientific notation, and then you were layering in the right answer with the correct arrow. And that arrow shot you to another problem. You filled in that arrow and you worked your way all the way over to the finish line. Everybody seemed to do really well. So what I did is I assigned on that Google slide, I told you that I wanted you guys to make sure that you did slide 3. That was the only one that I assigned. And then I wanted to go back in and I wanted to talk a little bit more about scientific notation. And I wanted to talk about it in terms of having small numbers, not necessarily large numbers. So I'm not talking to you about a large quantity. I'm actually talking to you about something that is tiny. So we're going to be working in a little bit different direction. So I want you to think about this time. I want you to think about if I gave you guys some numbers that were itty bitty, like microscopic. So we're talking about a number, and generally right before a decimal point, we put this number 0 just kind of as a placeholder. But let's say that I had like this tiny, 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 tiny number that looked like this. It's got a decimal point. We got all of these zeros here. So just like the ways the other scientific notation works is it eliminates the need to write all these zeros repetitively over and over and over. What we can do is we can write it by a power of 10. Power of 10 is all we're doing is we're either going to be shifting a decimal to the right or to the left. So what you want to do is you want to take this and you want to hop it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots. So you only have one digit in front of that decimal point. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to write it as 1.2, and I have to keep that 2 as a holder after that. We're going to multiply this by 10. We're going to count those hops again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hops. And since I hopped I hopped to the right instead of to the left. Since I was hopping in a direction that's making this small, we're actually going to raise this to a negative exponent. It's going to be to the negative 8. That's a little bit different than if you had the scientific notation that I showed you last time. Let's say that we had it going the other way, where we had something like this, where we had a great big number. Instead of a tiny, tiny, tiny number, we're going to a great big number with that decimal point sitting all the way over here. I still can write this using scientific notation. I'm hopping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This time I hop 9. I'm still going to get that 1.2. I'm multiplying by a power of 10, but notice that my arrow went to the left instead of the right. Since it went to the left, it's going to be a positive exponent. So scientific notation, when it's a large number, we're going to have a positive exponent. When it's a small number, we're going to have a negative exponent. So we talked about what that looks like when we're going from standard form to scientific notation. And then I said, sometimes you might actually be given an example where you got something like 9.6 times 10 to the negative 7 power. So this is already written in scientific notation. And what we want to do is we want to put it in standard notation, we want to write it as a number with all the zeros that are in there. So remember, this negative 7 is actually going to be making this a small number. So I want to take this and I want to start moving this over 7 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put that decimal point there. I'm going to bring this down. And remember, you're going to count in here. For every hop, we're going to put a 0. So there should be zeros that are going to fill those spots. So it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros and a 9 and a 6. And you do have to bring down both that 9 and that 6. The 9 and the 6 are actual mathematical values, and so those don't just get to be eliminated. So we talked about going both directions, and then we also discussed that I wanted them to remember that any number raised to the 0 power is like an identity property. Don't forget that sometimes on your worksheet or when you guys are working to do anything with exponents, you might get a base that's risen that has a 0 power there, and that's just an identity property. Recognize that we have a number that is equivalent to 1. So you're going to be working a little bit with both scientific notations today. And what I wanted them to do is both the large and the small. So we have our maze. I wanted you to go back to your Google Classroom, and I wanted you to go in Google Classroom. You already should have completed slide 3. I assigned slide 2. Slide 2 was the assignment for today. And then I said if they wanted to, they could go in and take a look at slide 4. Slide 4 is going to be extra credit, which Ming, you really could take a look at. I would appreciate if you really did try to go in and look at that and get some extra credit. I think that will help your grade quite a bit. So slide 4 was extra credit. They also had to go in, and I required that they put in 30 minutes of ST math. So I'm looking for you to have 30 minutes for yesterday. So we should be at a total of 60 minutes for the week. I'm going to be grading this tomorrow. If you've not done your ST math, please make sure that you've gotten in your 60 minutes of ST math. So they did the ST math, and then we played a couple games together. Those games were live, and I think you tried to join, but I don't know if you were having a whole lot of luck getting in there. So if I can help you get into something like GimKit or one of our games, please let me know, and I'll do my best to see what I can do to get you with us for that. So just plan on that I'm here. If you got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. That's what we worked on. So make sure you get those puzzles done. There's a Nearpod lesson in there as well. It's very helpful if you go in and you take a look at that Nearpod lesson. So finish that Nearpod lesson, do your ST math, finish the Google slide, and then I'll see you on Monday. On Monday, we're going to review everything that you've learned so far because we're taking a quiz on Thursday. Thank you, Ming. I sure hope everything's going okay. I'll chat with you very soon. Bye.